Hey, this is Hans from Request for Music with yet another new module. That new module is the one that is placed here, which is called Probz, which is short for probabilities. And this is a so-called probabilistic note processor. And that means that the probabilities are actually things that I've already built in a couple of modules now, which means that it you can decide how much probability there is that a node, for instance, or a gate come through. Or at least normally I've only used it for gates and stuff like that. But this one is also for nodes. So that means that if I have a pitch somewhere in and I can actually play that, or it will maybe omit that node. Um, you see that I have 6 lanes in here for which you can set all of those probabilities, and has a pitch input and a gate input and a pitch and a gate output for all of those 6 lanes. And for the rest there are 2 combination lanes where you can decide which of those lanes from the top you want to combine. You can have 3 lanes combined, and you can have some Boolean operation on that, like an OR or an AND or a XOR or a sum, and you can take that gate out. That only affects the gate. So that means that if I have something like this and I have a couple of modules already connected to this, so I've got a VCO, an ADSR, VCF and stuff like that connected. And if everything's okay, you'll see the node being played. So if I do something like this, the probability is at 100%. So that all of the notes that I play come through. If, on the other hand, I take this back, then the note will come through less. Yes, so you can have something like that going on, and that might sound strange at first, but if you would have two VCOs, so if I just I'll probably have to make a new set completely. So I'll take these back to the left, and I'll copy all of those in again. So I have 2 sets of VCO, ADSRs, and VCFs, and I'll take my pitch out, and I'll take my gate from the CV sources, and I'll put my my pitch into the second VCO, and this into, oops, did I put it in? Yeah, I did. And I'll put my gate into my second ADSR and put my envelope in there, and I'll put my output of this in, and I'll switch this to an octave higher. So and maybe it's good to have this connected to my mixer as well, and let's put them to either side. So normally, let's take this back, it would play everything, right? But now I can change the probability for both of them, and the probability will affect different parts. So that's something that you can do. On the other hand, if I have both of them on like this, so I play every note right now, and I'll put them at the same octave. So they play exactly the same note, but maybe I want to change the actual detuning of those notes depending on the note that I play. So instead of doing a full detune on an oscillator, I can now do a detune from my Probz module. So the probability of this is now different for every note. So I'll exaggerate this. So you hear that every note that I play has a different detuning. So that might be nice as well, to have a sort more of a lively note to play. Something like that. So that's what you can use it for. Let's go on to a next thing. Let's save this first. No, I don't need to save this. Let's go on to the next one. So in this case, I have a sequencer connected, and the sequencer is connected to both channels. So you see that it's going to both pitches of both lanes, and the gates are also connected, hooked up to this. And I'll take these out first. And the pitches go to different oscillators. You don't see the second set, but actually there's, just as in my other example, there are two sets in there, and this might be going off screen for the reverb now, but it's still there. Oh, I can probably still show that. Oh, it's a bit too short. So something like this. Okay, so so there you have it. You have a sequencer driving the probabilities module, and those go into the two VCOs, ADSRs and VDFs, and which is going into the mixer. So well, let's first of all take my first oscillator, just the first one, which is this set here. So I'll play that one. So I'll start this, and first of all take my probabilities up. So for the next one, also take this one all the way up and play the other one as well. So I'll try to get the same sound of both. So now take the detuning up. So there's already a slight shift in between those two. Now let's take the probability down of the first one and of the second one. So playing with only one sequencer, you still get pretty much difference between those. Now let's take the combination, and the combination is used, as I said, to combine these gates and stuff like that, and use that to use an AND or an OR function. So let's just take this and drive the filter from the timbre modulation for that setting for both. So where's the other one? There. So let's do the same again. So I'll take it all the way down now, so you can hardly hear it. But if I put them up, you will hear that it has effects on that filter being opened. And this one for the second. Let's put a different one on. So let's switch this off for a while first. Sorry. So you saw that for sequences you can actually, let's go back actually once to that one. So you can actually use one sequence to drive multiple probs, multiple oscillators with different settings for the probability and different settings for detuning and stuff like that. To have those sequencers have multiple effects, multiple sound based on only one sequencer. So that's a pretty handy trick, I guess. A next option would be doing something like this, where I have the LFO, because if I put a note in, it's actually sampled on that note for that gate length. So in this case, I have an LFO, and obviously the LFO itself is actually going on and on. So if I use my LFO straight into, let's take that cable in there, and I'm going to put it into my where am I? Into my external drive of this VCO, and I'll take this one out. So now if I run this, if I drive it, you get this, right? You get a full pitch going on like that. If instead I'm going to take the pitch into the Probz module and take the output of that into my external drive of the, so I'll take this in here. The pitch is actually sampled, so I need to put this back into my input. So now the pitch is sampled by this, and you can still play around with that. And that is done on every gate, and actually the gate was being triggered by this clocks module. So if I and I'll probably want an attenuator or something, so I maybe don't want to put it straight into the external, but instead into the FM input, where I can define how deep it is going to modulate. So in that case, you have sort of a sample and hold, but one that has a probability setting. So yeah, you have different options to work with all kinds of probabilities from any module that you want to put in there. So you can use it on control voltages like LFOs and stuff like that, or you can use it on the gates if you just would want to use the gates. Like, I'm not quite sure if I have another one with, no, don't have that one, because if I instead do something, I'll take these VCOs out, all this stuff out, and I'm going to put my MEMS module in there. So MEMS, put that in a couple of times, and I'm going to use a clocks. So I'm not going to drive from the normal sources, I'm going to drive only by using a clock. So I'm going to put the gate in here, and I'm going to put the gate in there, and I'm going to take the output of this into the trigger of the first MEMS and into the second one. And it would have been nice if I had kept the mixer and or type it correctly. So I'll take this one in there, and I'm going to take my first one in here, and going to take my second one in there, and take this into my delay. Okay, so if probability is in, and if I have everything hooked up correctly, I get those two MEMS, one on the left side, one on the right side, and they're both the same. So let's take different ones for both. So I'll take one of those module presets that I have set. So let's take a snare on the first one, take the level up a bit, decay a bit down, and take something like sort of a bongo or something on the other hand, on the other side. So maybe take it even up higher. So I got something like this, and the difference in speed is the difference in the clock. So even if I take it at both at the same setting like this, they're both the same, of course. But now let's just play around with those probabilities. It's easy enough to create free and interesting rhythms, and just by using those settings differently, and maybe instead take the trigger of the second one out of the combination, I can have stuff where it's going to do that when the clock is present on both of those, like it's or either one or the other one, or an end where it would wait for the gates to be exactly on the same spot to do that. So there's different ways of playing around with that. But as said, you can make interesting rhythms that way. So anyway, that's probably a useful way of describing what probabilities probs, what the probs module can do for you. It's not random completely, but you decide in your combination of using all of those stuff how you want, yeah, sort of musical patterns to be used from Probz. So I hope you like it. There's obviously a 5-day demo as usual, and I'll see you in the next video. So cheers, bye bye.